We only have two enemies in Europe at the moment, and this is Sweden and Ireland. My revenge on Sweden is Malmo. We have at least 8, 9 nations who are very friendly to Israel. Most European nations are fair-minded, even if critical. We only have two enemies in Europe at the moment, and this is Sweden and Ireland.
Because they recognize Palestine?
No. This is just a manifestation. The Swedes are always very hostile. We have elections soon, so maybe things will change in Sweden. But the Swedes and the Irish are always very hostile.
What do you mean?
Look, the Swedes have this fantasy that they are the people who will tell everybody who's right and who's wrong, and we look at them and say, who the hell are you? Actually, we use stronger language than this, okay, to ourselves, okay? They're being ridiculous, and they have these perceptions that is... okay, I never heard that. My revenge on Sweden is Malmo. You know, this is a place where people can't live anymore, and it's a very major problem, and they really deserve it.
Autist, Air Force guy who did make bombs. I dated a high-functioning autist who stalked people and would order tons of junk mail to target houses. Stoop sign.
Okay.
That's a Jimmy.
So more bad news for Israel, and this is not AI generated. Spain, Ireland, and others boycott the Eurovision over Israel's participation. The Netherlands, Slovenia also said they would not take part in next year's contest, meant to be its celebratory 70th edition. So that's like their American Idol, right? That's what Eurovision, that's what that is. So they have a singing contest, and so they're all going to boycott it over Israel's participation. Wow. Since Israel's military began its incursion into Gaza after the Hamas-led attack 2 years ago, many Eurovision fans have agonized over Israel's presence at the contest. As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza deepened, several member countries said Israel should no longer take part in the musical event. On Thursday, after a European Broadcasting Union meeting in which Israel's participation in the contest was left unchanged, RTVE, the public broadcaster that organizes Spain's participation, said at a news release that the country was boycotting next year's event, which will be held in Vienna in May. The broadcaster said it decided to withdraw after it asked for a vote on Israel's suspension that was not approved. The Netherlands, Slovenia, and Ireland also confirmed they're pulling out. RTE, Ireland's national broadcaster, said in a statement that participating in Eurovision alongside Israel was, quote, unconscionable given the appalling loss of lives in Gaza and the humanitarian crisis there. Taco Zimmerman, wow, sounds like Taco Zimmerman? Sounds like Bob Dylan opened up a competition across from Danny Trejo's place. Am I right? If you get that, you got to know that Bob Dylan's original name was Zimmerman. You got to know that Danny Trejo owns taco places in Los Angeles. You need to have a lot of background information to get that joke. So now that you do, hey, Taco Zimmerman sounds like Bob Dylan opened up the competition across from Danny Trejo's place. There you go. Okay, so now it makes sense. Let's see. Taco Zimmerman, chief executive of Avrotros, the public broadcaster that organizes the Netherlands participation, said in a statement that culture unites, but not at all costs. Despite being outside Europe, Israel has long been allowed to compete in Eurovision because KAN, its public broadcaster, is a member of the European Broadcasting Union. What the F? Why are they allowed? They're not that's wild. Since the first entering in 1973, Israel has become one of the competition's powerhouses, having won 4 times. Khan said in a statement that it would take part in next year's Eurovision, according to a transcript of Thursday's meeting supplied by the broadcaster. Golan Yakbaz, the company's chief executive, criticized those trying to get Israel thrown out. The attempt to remove Khan from the contest can only be understood as a cultural boycott, he said. Really? A boycott may begin today with Israel, but no one knows where it will end or who else it may harm. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, well, if somebody else starts doing a genocide in 4K, I guess they're in trouble. Is this what we truly want this contest to be remembered for at its 70th anniversary? Yes. Yes, that they finally stood up for international law. They finally stood up against someone committing genocide. Someone who has warrants out for their arrest by the ICC for genocide? Yeah, I think that'd be a great way to be remembered. Don't you think? I think so. The boycotts plunged the world's most watched singing competition into a crisis, with questions from whether fans from those nations will continue to watch. At Thursday's meeting, held in Switzerland, public service broadcasters from across Europe approved changes to the singing competition's rules to try to prevent governments, including Israel's, from influencing Eurovision's voting system. But they did not vote on Israel's participation, as some member broadcasters had called for. In September, the Broadcasting Union had promised such a vote in an attempt to resolve the Eurovision tensions, but then postponed it after Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire. For years, Eurovision fans who support Palestinian rights have expressed concern at Israel's involvement in the contest. In 2019, Hatari, a techno-punk band representing Iceland at that year's event in Tel Aviv, unfurled a scarf that read Palestine during the show's live telecast. Yippee. Nice. Hatari, here it is, pulling Palestine banners during Tel Aviv's Eurovision Song Contest in 2019. I honestly have never watched this talent contest, but somehow I ended up listening to their music, and now I'm a diehard fan of them. So good. Let's watch.
186 points.
There you go.
And we go to France.
Nice. Nicely done, Iceland. Such complaints grew louder after Israel began its military campaign in Gaza in October 2023, after they surged again this year's contest after Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the government official social media channels repeatedly urged followers to vote for Israel's act, an unusual step for a national government. Adam tweets out, Russia was imminently banned from Eurovision and FIFA, but when it comes to Israel, both organizations claim to be non-political. So there's Russia being banned from Eurovision in 2022, as organizers say it would bring contests into disrepute. EBU on continued Israel participation. We remain a non-political event. Isn't that interesting? So that was in 22, this is in 23, but now it's 25. So it looks like that's over with. So it looks like they're not saying that stuff anymore. So, all right. So more bad news for Israel. Any bad news for Israel is good news for humanity and the world. So it's good to see. Okay, good. Eurovision, good for you. Maybe I'll start watching that online now. Maybe I'll check that. I think I will maybe check that out. It'd be nice if somebody else held up a Palestinian flag, just besides those Iceland guys. Okay, nice work. If you'd like to hear me tell jokes about Israel, come see me January 11th in Hawaii. I'm going to be in Waikiki. How about June 30th at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles? Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, another lovely flyer from Misha. I love the composition. Blue Note, ladies and gentlemen, Blue Note, January 11th, Blue Note. Go to jimmydore.com. jimmydore.com and look at our tour dates. I know a pal just said, well, I know San Diego. We're working on the 2026 tour dates right now. Jimmy needs a little bit of a rest, believe it or not. So we'll see how that works out. He likes to rest, but you know. All right. TJ, again, thanks for pointing out it's a fake clip. Catman, I hope the Blaze runs his stride through their forensic software to show us that perfect match score. Catman. Yeah, but they'll change the ecosystem to head off at the gate of the populist sentiment and then control most of the capital. Only system collapse can fix this, and then collective memory is gone anyways. Dobther. I have obey little, resist much tattooed on my triceps. Jimmy needs Adam Carolla's beat ingestion recognition bracelet so he doesn't think he's dying. Love you. Owie Fauci. Ouchie Fauci, thank you. Vienticus, the best adversary is one you have complete control over. Right? I hope the Blaze runs his stride. Oh, I read that from Catman. Oh, hold on. Carrie. Mearsheimer would be interested in knowing he's been AI'd. Maybe ask or alert him. Sure, I think that's a good idea. Let's see here. What do we got? We, Australia, compete in EV as well. Figure that. Well, thank you so much. Reel the wedge.
Okay.
All right, back to Jimmy.